The giant gently waved his enormous hand, and in an instant, he finished the work that would have taken the villagers half a year to plow. Then, he traced a channel with his finger, guiding the river water into the fields. In the blink of an eye, the seeds began to sprout and grow. The king ordered the giant to serve him. The giant scooped up a handful of water and filled the castle's pool. The king smiled with satisfaction. The giant was the guardian of the entire kingdom, but the king could never stand the sight of him. Even the trees that the giant had lovingly planted with his own hands were chopped down one by one. Under the king's command, the giant reached out his massive hand, trying to stop the king from cutting down more trees, but the king refused to listen. He blew his horn and ordered his soldiers to fire their arrows. The arrows barely scratched the giant's body. They pierced his heart deeply. After the giant left, the king sent his men to cut down the last remaining trees on the mountain. Without the protection of the forest, the once lush green hills turned into a barren wasteland. Sandstorms swept across the land, and the people of the cities and villages fled one after another. The king was left alone among the ruins, calling out for help, but no one answered. Helpless, he finally ran away in despair. Along the road, passers-by threw leaves and scraps at his head. When he saw other kingdoms filled with harvests and peace, he felt nothing but envy. Even so, he clenched his teeth and kept walking. At dawn the next morning, when the first ray of sunlight touched his face, he saw a familiar figure, the giant. The king shouted his name. The giant didn't recognize him, so the king placed his crown back on his head. The giant frowned, realizing it was the same cruel ruler who had once driven him away. Seeing the giant's cold expression, knowing forgiveness would not come easily, the king dropped to his knees and begged for mercy. But as he knelt, he accidentally crushed a wildflower beneath his foot. A sharp pain struck his heart. The giant noticed the change in the king's eyes. He decided to forgive him. The giant carried the king back to the castle, a castle that was now surrounded by desert. Together, they began to work side by side, plowing the land, planting new trees, and bringing life back to the home they once shared.